This simple item in your bag could get you kicked off your flight or slapped with a fine of up to $17,000, and most travelers don't even know about it. Imagine this. You're at the airport, checked in, relaxed, ready to fly, when suddenly your name echoes over the loudspeaker. Security wants you back. Your stomach drops, you walk nervously, and that's when they reveal the shock. Something so ordinary in your suitcase has just become a banned item. Not a weapon, not explosives, but an everyday product you've probably used this week. And here's the twist. This isn't a rumor or some airline scare tactic. It's a brand new TSA rule, effective August 25th, 2025, and it's already catching travelers off guard. So stick with me until the end, because I'll explain what the item is, why TSA suddenly outlawed it, and the hidden risks that most passengers don't realize until it's too late. I'll also reveal how you can still carry your favorite curler on your next flight without breaking any rules. Let's get started. On that date, the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, in coordination with the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, updated their list of prohibited items. Normally, these updates fly under the radar. A few niche tools or obscure chemical products get added, and most passengers never even hear about them. But this time, the rule hit millions of travelers square in the middle of their morning routine. The ban was simple but shocking. Cordless hairstyling tools are no longer allowed in checked luggage. Yes, you heard that right. Curling irons, flat irons, and straighteners powered by lithium-ion batteries, lithium metal batteries, or butane fuel cartridges are now treated as hazardous items if placed in the cargo hold of an airplane. For years, people casually tossed these tools into their suitcases without thinking twice. They were as ordinary as packing toothpaste or deodorant. But starting August 25, 2025, that casual decision instantly became a federal violation. And the rules don't stop at the devices themselves. The FAA spelled it out in black and white. Gas refills and spare butane cartridges completely banned. Any detachable cordless hairstyling tool with lithium or gas fuel, not allowed. Checked luggage is simply no longer an option at all. That doesn't mean you have to ditch your hair routine altogether. The tools aren't completely outlawed. Travelers can still carry them in carry-on bags, but only under strict conditions. The heating element must have a safety cover fitted securely over it. The device must be protected against accidental activation. Only then can it come on board with you. There's one major exception: plug-in hairstyling tools, the kind that draw power from a wall outlet. Those are still considered safe and are permitted in both carry-on and checked baggage. In other words, if it runs purely on electricity and not gas or batteries, you're in the clear. Still, for millions of travelers who rely on cordless tools for convenience, this announcement was a shock. But to understand why the TSA cracked down so hard, we have to look at what's really hiding inside these devices. At first glance, it sounds almost silly. A curling iron? A straightener? How dangerous can those really be? They're beauty tools, not bombs. Yet the TSA doesn't add items to its prohibited list on a whim. Behind every decision lies incident reports, safety data, and one central concern: fire risk in the skies. Let's start with lithium-ion batteries. These are the same batteries that power your phone, your laptop, and countless rechargeable gadgets. Most of the time, they're safe. But under certain conditions, when damaged, overheated, or poorly manufactured, they can enter what's called thermal runaway. Thermal runaway is a polite scientific phrase for what passengers see as an explosion of fire and smoke. The battery short circuits internally, heats up uncontrollably, and ignites. In a living room, that's a dangerous accident. In an aircraft cargo hold, sealed away from crew and passengers, it's potentially catastrophic. That's why airlines already have strict rules about spare lithium batteries. The new rule simply extends that logic to cordless hairstyling tools. Now add butane fuel into the mix. Some cordless curling irons and straighteners are powered not by batteries, but by small gas cartridges. These are designed to be portable, heating up quickly without electricity. But butane is a highly flammable fuel. Even tiny leaks can create fire hazards. A cartridge exposed to cabin pressure changes or accidental puncture becomes an accident waiting to happen. Over the years, aviation safety agencies have collected enough reports of overheated or leaking devices to raise red flags. Most never made headlines. Maybe it was a whiff of gas inside a suitcase. Maybe a tool turned on by accident and melted part of a lining. But safety regulators don't wait for a full-blown disaster before they act. The August 25th ban was their way of getting ahead of a potential catastrophe. And then there's the psychological side. Imagine sitting mid-flight when smoke starts pouring from the overhead bin. Even if the fire is contained, the panic among passengers could spark chaos in the cabin. Safety isn't just about preventing fire, it's about preventing fear. That's why the fines are so steep. Violating this rule can cost up to $17,000, and in extreme cases, like trying to sneak fuel refills on board, it could even lead to arrest. Think about that for a moment. You could be pulled aside, cuffed, and escorted out of the terminal over something as small as a hairstyling tool. For TSA and FAA officials, the message is clear. This isn't about vanity. It's about making sure the only heat in the sky comes from jet engines, not your curling iron.
The ban only applies to checked luggage, which means you can't put gas-powered hair straighteners or curlers in your checked bag at all. But don't worry, you can still bring them in your carry-on bag as long as you follow some special rules to keep everyone safe. A safety cover must be placed tightly over the heating part of the tool. This prevents the device from accidentally burning or damaging anything inside your bag. The device must be protected from accidental activation. In other words, it shouldn't be able to switch on by itself while packed away. And here's a very important rule. Gas refills or spare cartridges are banned everywhere. You cannot pack them in checked bags or even in your carry-on. Only the single cartridge already attached to the tool, if it has one, is allowed in your carry-on. On the other hand, if your straightener or curler is a corded plug-in version, the kind you just plug into the wall, there are no restrictions at all. You can safely pack it in either your carry-on or checked luggage without worrying about these rules.
Here's the bottom line. Cordless hairstyling tools, whether they use lithium batteries or butane gas, are not allowed in checked luggage. The only way to bring them is in your carry-on bag, and even then, they must be cool, have a proper safety cover, and be protected from turning on by accident. On the other hand, plug-in models that run with the cord are completely safe. You can pack them in your carry-on or even in checked luggage without any problem. But remember, if you forget this rule, airport security can confiscate your tool on the spot. That means you could lose your expensive straightener, waste money, or even face delays that put your whole trip at risk.
And that's it. Now you know the truth about carrying a hair straightener while flying. But this is just one of many surprising airport rules that could trip you up. Want to know the top 10 banned items that can actually get you fined or even arrested? Click here, and I'll see you in a moment.